The southern border of the U.S. with Mexico stretches for 1,930 miles, running from the Pacific Ocean to the southern tip of Texas, with about 696 of these miles protected by a wall. This isn't just any fence. It's a massive steel barrier towering over 29 feet high with gaps of only 4 inches between the steel posts, making squeezing through impossible. The square wall posts have a diameter of 6 inches, and the contractors even filled the lower sections with concrete and, in some cases, steel reinforcement to make cutting through the wall harder. As a bonus, the steel structure is coated with black paint because Donald Trump, the creator of the wall, insisted it would make the barrier hotter to the touch, potentially burning the hands of illegal migrants. Additionally, double fences were installed in high-traffic areas like San Diego, and U.S. Border Patrol agents use advanced surveillance gear, including motion sensor cameras, drones, and tethered aerostats that provide a 24/7, 360-degree view. Even the ground is fitted with buried sensors that trigger alarms if someone or something big enough passes nearby, making sneaking across the border nearly impossible. Many sections are brightly lit at night, and federal contractors have installed around 2,000 stadium-style floodlights in southern Arizona alone. Despite this, in 2019, newspapers reported that smugglers had found ways to slip through, not just over or under the wall. The whole idea of a border barrier predates Trump, as the first miles of fencing were installed in the 1990s under President Bill Clinton. Over the last 30 years, the wall has expanded bit by bit, with significant construction occurring between 2008 and 2016 along the California-Mexico border, and another 458 miles added between 2017 and 2021 under Trump, whose main goal was to reduce illegal immigration. However, the wall isn't a continuous solid structure but a series of obstacles categorized as either fences or walls, with security supplemented by a virtual fence of sensors, cameras, and other surveillance equipment. Trump's presidency saw the construction of 458 miles of fencing, primarily in remote areas of New Mexico and Arizona, with plans for an additional 248 miles before construction was halted when he lost the election. Instead, the Biden administration sought alternative ways to improve border security. However, with Trump now back in power, he plans to complete the project, seeing the wall as a defining symbol of his presidency. Initially, he wanted a solid concrete wall, but the Department of Homeland Security advised against it to maintain visibility on the other side. Yet, even with these barriers and technologies, smugglers continue to find ways through. According to unpublished reports from U.S. Customs and Border Protection, Mexican smuggling gangs breached sections of the border wall 3,272 times between 2019 and 2022, often using inexpensive power tools like angle grinders and demolition saws available at regular hardware stores. Cutting through a post takes less than 20 minutes, and once removed, the steel beam swings open like a giant cat door, creating a passage for people and contraband. Smugglers often work at night, using blankets to cover the sparks and lookouts to warn them of approaching Border Patrol agents. Once a breach is made, they return to the same spot repeatedly until it's discovered and sealed, at which point they simply create another one. The most active cutting crews operate in California, with the El Centro Border Patrol sector reporting 1,867 breaches, followed by San Diego with 866. In March 2021, smugglers even broke through an entire section of fencing in the El Centro sector, creating a wide enough gap for 2 SUVs to drive through. While authorities spend millions repairing these breaches, smugglers adapt, often covering their tracks with putty to make detection difficult. While steel posts allow for easier repairs than a solid concrete wall, smugglers exploit weaknesses, repeatedly cutting through previously welded seams where the metal is softer. Beyond cutting, smugglers also climb the wall using tall ladders made from wooden scraps or metal rebar, just slim enough to fit between the posts. They scale the structure, slip through the narrow 4-inch gaps, then climb down using the ladder again on the U.S. side. Ropes with knots are also common, and some athletic climbers grip poles between their legs and slide down like firefighters. Rebar ladders are popular due to their affordability, as rebar is easily sourced from hardware stores. Despite the risk of injury or death, since the tallest fences are as high as a 3-story building, this method remains prevalent. Some smugglers even use lightweight ladders to bypass anti-climb panels placed at the top of the fence. Once a lead climber reaches the top, they hook up rope ladders for others to descend. But beyond cutting and climbing, tunnels are another major method used to bypass the wall. Between 2017 and 2019, border and customs officials discovered 40 tunnels, with an increasing frequency of about 1 per month in 2020. One tunnel, discovered in 2020, was the longest ever found on the southwest border, stretching 8 miles from an industrial site in Tijuana, Mexico, to the San Diego area. It featured rail carts, ventilation, high-voltage electric cables, an elevator, and a drainage system, resembling an underground subway. Other tunnels, like one found in 2022, led to a house in a fortified section of the border, stretching 1,640 feet and running 6 stories underground. Smugglers ingeniously conceal tunnel entrances using pool tables, electrical panels, hydraulic bathtubs, or even disguised exits where they pour concrete, repaint, and lay carpet after each use. While walls can block small, hastily built tunnels, they are ineffective against sophisticated, deep tunnels, which allow smugglers to transport large quantities of goods without the risks of crossing overland. The very process of building the wall created opportunities for illegal crossings, as the difficult terrain delayed construction, leaving gaps in some areas. Some places, like the Rio Grande in Texas, saw little to no construction since the land is privately owned, making legal disputes a major obstacle. In southern Arizona, construction crews rushed to complete segments before Biden took office, leaving several engineering gaps, such as missing gates and unfinished connections between segments. In some locations, mismatched fence panels left gaps wide enough for people to squeeze through. And where walls couldn't be built, such as along the Rio Grande River, barbed wire and floating barriers were deployed in an attempt to deter crossings, though these measures have had limited success. A federal judge later ruled for the removal of floating barriers in 2023. Despite its shortcomings, the wall remains an important security tool when combined with surveillance technology and adequate personnel. Many breached sections lack the originally planned sensors and detection systems, reducing their effectiveness. However, newer versions of the fence slow down smugglers, as cutting through steel posts only creates a narrow opening that limits the speed of crossings. While some view the $15 billion project as wasteful and costly, requiring millions in maintenance, Trump's second term may see renewed efforts to complete the barrier. Meanwhile, smuggling methods continue evolving. One of the most notable cases involved drones. In April 2015, a 19-year-old man in a farmer's field north of the border coordinated a drone drop of illegal substances from Mexico, wrapped in bubble wrap. The drone flew back and forth 4 times over several hours, but U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents had captured the entire event on camera. Though the man and his accomplice were caught, the drone operator in Mexico escaped. This case highlighted the increasing role of technology in smuggling operations, presenting new challenges for border security.